Does this prove like David Fincher's style of filmmaking like enhances real life information? I'm gonna have to say yes. Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon reviewing. This is the Zodiac speaking. It says it's season 1, but it makes no sense why this is season 1. But pretty simple premise. We are looking at the Zodiac and who we think the Zodiac is, and looking at real life experiences, as well as kind of linking it to the David Fincher film with Jake Gyllenhaal, Mark Ruffalo, and Robert Downey Jr., and having this kind of epiphany moment for some people on who we really think the Zodiac Killer is. And yes, before going into this, I did a cold case with John Benet Ramsey talking about conclusion, and then, having a conclusion, not having a hypothesis, and going the opposite way around. Here, I think there's so much data that the conclusion is hard not to look at because of information writing, first-hand accounts, and things like that. So, like I said, this talks about these first-hand accounts and linking it to what is happening. So this is very interesting on how it's filmed, because usually it talks about like the murders in like, chronological order. While this is a chronological orders, but we're talking more about the non-victims, even though they're victims in their own extent of being drugged and molested, especially the daughter character, not the brothers. But this goes like, damn, is this really a cold case at this point, and do we really know who the Zodiac is? In my opinion, we 100% do. And I think it's Mr. Allen, if not mistaken, that we think the Zodiac Killer is. And I absolutely agree that it is that person, because there's just too much data and too many first-hand witnesses with these kids, now adults, that are like, there's no way this is not it. And this is also something when I watched my mom, there's a mom character with these kids. The goal of just like, you're so caught up in this quote unquote love that you're willing to let your kids be like, Mom, I was molested, and be like, the evil laugh of just like disgustingness is through and throughout. So when I talk about the positives, it is how it's shot and told, because the first episode is more like talking about these kids and talking about the Allen character and talking about some of the murders where it's not grotesque, and you're just thinking like, how is this linking to the Zodiac? Yes, I understand that you're trying to say this Allen guy is a Zodiac Killer, but what are these kids doing in this doc, or why are these adults that were kids in this doc, and what are they going to give me new data? And it is when they watch the David Fincher Zodiac film is where like epiphanies happen. Even though only 2 of them at the time, so there's 3 of them, right? One of them is like, yo, the Allen guy is the killer. The Allen guy molested you, my sister, and things like that. And the sister and brother are just like, no, I don't think that happened. There's no way that happened. And the brother's like, he told me he's the Zodiac Killer, and he's done this stuff. And they're just like, no way, no way. But like I said, when they saw the film, it was like lights going off in their brain of like, wait a minute. I've been there. I've been there. I've been there. I've been there in this chronological order of where this movie is actually doing it. So it's more of like, oh, wait a minute. There's coincidences, and then there's just things that there's no way it could happen in this order, and this doc shows it that way. And then we also bring some media personnel who actually interviewed this person. It also talks about in David Fincher film as well of who it is and like how the actor kind of looks like the Allen character in real life as well. And so even the brothers and sisters are like, yeah, it's got to be him. But then season or episode 3 finally goes into like, just, it's not about the Zodiac, but how cancer just could kick you in the fucking nuts. Where this guy, one of the main brothers, is like, he was fine filming this thing. 3 weeks later, realizes he has stage 4 terminal cancer and dies like 4 weeks later. And you're just thinking like, that shit scares me, right? Death scares me because like the black hole of epiphany, like what is beyond the great beyond, and like it just like, because it just makes you think what happened in the past and now what happened in the future. Like once you die, like, is it just a black hole and nothing exists anymore? And I get the EBGBs when I think about that. It's just, ugh. So anyway, that's not about the Zodiac. It's about my personal like endeavor of just like scary shit. But anyway, when looking at this, I think it gives the viewers interesting information. Yes, you could say it's like, it's information you've kind of seen before. Yes, I'll give it that. That this Alan character, he's the Zodiac killer in my opinion. Like, it just with all the data, all the writings and things like that have just me thinking it is this guy. But bringing these kids / adults into it that actually know the Alan character is tenfold so interesting and fascinating that you just don't think about that, because usually with these docs, it is mostly reporters, cops, and things like that, but not like the killers who knew him in the past to this extent, and not knowing that he also drugged and molested some of these kids is absolutely baffling. Yes, when dealing with the murders, they do go pretty much in depth with how some of these people died, as well as some of the family members are friends of some of the victims. So I do think that is also a homage that we don't forget who the Zodiac killer took from this earth. So overall, this is the Zodiac speaking. I think is a well-crafted doc. It does its job. I learned new information, and with all the information from this, David Fincher's film, and also just my own personal like reading in some of these books, I think we know who the killer is, and I think this is a shut case, but in my opinion. So this is the Zodiac speaking will receive a 4 out of 5 with Futons, which equals at 80%. Also, when these kids were helping make his costume, that's like the nail in the coffin. The nail in the coffin. So see the critics and user scores gave this one. So critics, we have 4 of them. Audience score is 76, and the critics are a negative, a positive, and positive. So give me that 75%, 76-80. Chase out here at the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One more things, Blue Futontopia. You Blue Futonians, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Watch this day tomorrow, week from a month, or a year from now. I'll see a freaking one of you. And like I said, raise your hand if you think we know who the Zodiac killer was.